To work with ATIS Cloud, what you basically need is an internet connection and a browser. I have two different point clouds at two different locations. Double left click and I'll be sent directly at that location.
The links to Revit, I think, kind of game changer because a lot of people struggle with where to host their point cloud.
You can select the model, you can give exact position coordinates, and you'll be able to align it like this. Or you can use automatic aligning tool where you pick 3 points of the B model, 3 points of the point cloud, and it's going to adjust automatically.
I'm very interested and looking forward to trying that out, even for our own modeling capabilities.
Whether you're working on Mac or a tablet or smartphone, you'll be able to use ATIS Cloud. So you just need an internet connection and a browser because all is through the cloud and you'll be able to exploit this data.
Well, welcome, Albion. Thanks for joining us today, and let people know where you're joining us from.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for having me today. I'm joining here from France, and it's really a pleasure to be here and present our project.
That's great. We appreciate you guys being part of the community toward digitizing and making data accessible to people. I think that's one of the things that's exciting for people about your platform. You know, historically, one of the difficulties with point cloud data and scanning has always been how we share it with people and who can use it. And so we love seeing companies put a focus on making that more accessible and usable. So thanks for joining us. We're looking forward to diving into your platform today. So maybe we can go ahead and start with, we'd love to hear a bit about your company for those that are not familiar, and kind of dive into who you are.
Yeah. So I'm Albion, the tech leader of ATIS Cloud. So I'm responsible for development and production of our solution. Since I was a child, I always loved science computing and data. So I have a strong background in science computing and big data treatment. And I was lucky enough to be part of at the beginning of the journey of ATIS Cloud as an internship. And our solution helps specialists revolutionize the way that they work with point clouds. So we have a web cloud solution that helps you host, store, share, and work with point clouds without having the need to install anything or to use any third-party software to be able to work with them.
That's great. Well, if you want to go ahead and try to share your screen, I know we're going to kind of move into some slides on your end. And today we're hoping to, for those that are listening live, we're hoping to walk through some slides, learn a little bit about the company, and then also go into a live demo where we'll get to see some of the features and how it works. There's also obviously the chat panel and the Q&A panel for anybody who wants to submit questions throughout. We may answer some as we go or answer some at the end. And any that don't get answered, we'll be sure that get followed up with afterward as well. So,
yeah, thank you. So first, as you mentioned, I'll give a short presentation of our company, what we do. And then, as Matthew mentioned, you can ask your question, and then we'll switch to live demonstration where I'll be showing you what can you do with ATIS Cloud. Do you confirm that you are able to see my screen?
Yep, looks great.
Perfect. So ATIS Cloud is a cloud solution that helps you store, share, and work with point clouds online. It's a French company founded by Mr. Fauconnet, who is a reality capture specialist, and he worked for more than 10 years in this field. And during his experience, he encountered different issues working with point clouds because point cloud is a very rich data and not fully exploited at its full potential. And the goal of ATIS Cloud is really to give life to this point cloud. So ATIS Cloud is a spin-off of his first entity, and that's where we got the idea. And our challenge is to provide an agnostic solution compatible with all scanner types, whether we are talking about terrestrial, mobile, or drone. And today we are present in more than 100 countries within just 4 years. So ATIS Cloud, to work with ATIS Cloud, what you basically need is an internet connection and a browser. Whether you're working on Mac or a tablet or smartphone, you'll be able to use ATIS Cloud. So you just need an internet connection and a browser, no third-party software. And you don't have to worry if you have enough storage on your computer or if you have a powerful computer or if you have this license, because all is through the cloud and you'll be able to really exploit this data. We integrate in a workflow that already exists, so there is no need to modify your workflow. We're just here to improve it. So the first step will be capturing the data. So what you guys do or what other companies do for you. So as I said, we are compatible with all scanner types, whether you're using Faro or Attis 2060, or you might be using Navis or Leica Pegasus. So the first step is capturing this data. The second step is registering this data. Let's take an example. You're using Faro. You might be using Scene to register this data to generate a structured point cloud. And that's where you get the point cloud. So it can be E57, LIS, or Reka project. And that's where you can upload your point cloud on ATIS Cloud. So just as simply, you drag and drop your file. And then from wherever you are, you can use that point cloud. We don't stop only at point clouds. We are also compatible with 2D and 3D models. So you can as well import in your projects IFC models, step models, 3DLs models, and as well textured mesh. For example, if you're using photogrammetry, you might as well generate a textured mesh. So this will allow you to do 3D simulation for facility layout, for example, or you can as well compare as-built models to compare them with point clouds and detect the anomalies of the model. And as well, you can work in a collaborative way through VR or simultaneously with your colleagues on the project where you have the point cloud, the images, and the BIM model. And then, of course, you have lots of tools dedicated to analyze this data. And the fourth step, we give you tools that will allow you to extract part of your point clouds to work locally. You can export to LIS, E57, Recap, depending on the format that you want to work with. And as well, recently, we have the Revit and Albion streaming plugin, which will allow you to directly stream any of your project on ATIS Cloud directly on your Revit. I'll be showing this part today in one of my projects, and you'll see how you'll be able to gain a lot of time and directly concentrate on the modeling phase, for example. We have different customers, and every customer has a different need. For example, manufacturers, surveyors, architects, consulting firms, real estate asset managers, and every one of them has a particular need. And that's why today we have a global and useful solution, because we are as well capable and tool inside this box. So we're able to develop and add these kind of tools for you. It can either be only for you. In this case, we're talking about tailored tool made, or we'll enable it for the whole ATIS Cloud ecosystem. And that's why today, during my demo, you will find different tools that are as close as possible to the field. Because this is one of our particularities as well, what we are able to do today. So it's a global solution. We use secure global servers as well. And we can store the data as close as possible to the clients. For example, for the clients in US, they have the possibility to store the data only in US country and not store in other countries. And as well, if you want, you can duplicate it on other countries. So the laws of the country will apply on the data. The platform is in 5 languages: French, English, German, Spanish, and Italian. And as well, we're integrating Japanese. You can generate automatic Reka projects very easily from an E57 file, for example. You have zone export to directly work with other local softwares. And as well, there are a lot of tools dedicated to point cloud analysis and as well BIM models. So these are some of the tools. Of course, there are lots of more. And today I'll be only showing you different projects with different scanner types, the result that you can get today. Then we'll move on how you can compare a BIM model with the point cloud, how you can document your work, and how you can use the Revit streaming on this one, how you can gain more time on doing this job. And then I'll show you how you can do facility layout real quick with real-life panoramic view while you're doing your facility layout. And then we'll finish with the 2 big announcements that we have to make today. So just to sum up before we switch to the live demonstration, it's an advanced solution with multi-functions, latest protocol, security protocol. You can generate recap files automatically. And on ATIS Cloud, we're no longer talking about number of scans or the storage, because you might be using drone or mobile solution. So for us, we are unlimited in terms of number of scans and storage. And of course, the solution is affordable and very easy to use, plug and play, and you'll be optimizing your point clouds without loss of quality. We do not convert our point clouds to mesh. Mesh take a lot of time to produce, a lot of resources as well, and we use some of the geometry. So we keep really the point cloud, because the scanner, they produce point clouds and not mesh, and other CAD softwares, they use point cloud as well. So creating a mesh just for visualization, we stay with point clouds, and I'll be able to show you the workflow with this one. And then it's easy sharing, data saved in 3 different data centers. And as well, you can have your custom white label interface with your own ecosystem, your own colors, and with the tools that you want to have in that ecosystem. So if you guys have any question, before we jump on the demo, please feel free to use the chat. So I don't know, Matthew, if you're going to pick the question now or at the end of the demo.
Yeah, I think some of them might be answered in the demo. So we have a couple questions, but let's go ahead and jump into the demo. And then when we get to the point, we'll throw some of these questions in.
So the first part that I'm going to show you guys, it will be different projects with different scanner types. So the one that I will be opening will be a Leica solution, built 360 G2. So I'm using All Gallery or case study, so you guys can open as well after on. And as well, I'll be showing you another project with mobile solution Leica Pegasus. So if you're working with structured data, which means that you have the name of the stations, and you can double left click and you'll be jumped directly at the exact location where the surveying took place. And this will allow as well you to enter the 360 view. Okay, so we keep the real 4K image provided by the scanner type that you're using. Having the image is really interesting because you can better understand the environment, and as well you can do any kind of measurement while you're having this view. For example, in this case, I'm going to do a height real quick, and you see in my case it's meters, but you can be using feet or other unit measurement depending on the country that you're working. As well, another particularity is that when you're in 360 view, you can change this view and view only the point cloud. So here I'm changing the opacity and I'm viewing the point cloud. And if I change my position, for example, here, by default, I arrive at the panoramic view, but I can change it as well and view only the point cloud. And of course, when you exit the 360 view and you find the global view, you'll be able to find your measurement. You can adjust them. You can as well find them on the right menu, and you can save a version to keep the measurement saved. Let's say, for example, that for this project, we are viewing with color. But if your point cloud has intensity or another attribute classification, for example, you can easily display this data without any loss. And for example, in my case, I have another mode of view X-ray, so which will better help you to view your project. And with a mixture of another tool, ortho image, I can have a flat representation of my building, and I have a 2D plan directly. And on this 2D plan, I can do a simple measurement, for example, the ground surface real quick. And if I want, I can export the ortho image, for example, to work locally and go to other softwares. So very easy to use with tools, so that will help you directly take any kind of measurement. So now I switched to another project, Leica Pegasus. So if you're working with georeference data, you guys can keep the georeference, and as well, we give you the possibility to overlay the point cloud on the map. So we can see on the left corner of my screen, I know exactly where the point cloud is located. And as well, for example, in this project, I have 2 different point clouds at 2 different locations. Double left click, and I'll be sent directly at that location. And if you're using mobile solution, you can as well have the 360 images. So here, for example, we are no longer talking for structured data. We have the image. I can have a 360 view very easily. And if I change the opacity in this case, I will no longer be able to view my scan underneath it. We really have the 360 images that are overlaid with the point cloud. And you can simply take any kind of measurement. Let me go just there. You can easily use any kind of measurement and share your project. So now if you go deeper into what ATIS Cloud can do. So in this project, this is another project with another scanner type. In this one, we use Faro. Our client use Faro. And as well in this project, we have a Revit model that we are seeing here. So both of them are sharing the same reference, so they're aligned perfectly. If this is not the case, we give you different possibilities of how to align it. You can select the model, you can give exact position coordinates, and you'll be able to align it like this. Or you can use the automatic aligning tool where you pick 3 points of the BIM model, 3 points of the point cloud, and it's going to adjust automatically. But in case you're using georeference data for the IFC, for the Revit, and for the point cloud, it is going to get aligned automatically. So what you can do once you have this these two data in the project, you can analyze them automatically. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. So here I'm going to use the analysis, server-side analysis tool, and I'm going to load the result. And in quick, for less than 30 seconds, you'll be able to directly have the validation percentage of your project. And you can go even further. For example, I want to know what's correctly modelized, and I'm able to adjust the data range, because depending on the project, there is a data range to be respected. And you can adjust these values live, and it's going to update the validation percentage live while you're adjusting it. And if you want to analyze, for example, this project, what is currently missing, because here, if I hide the model, we're colorizing the point cloud. We're no longer talking about mesh. We're really using the rich data that was provided in the beginning. So here we can see the parts that are fitting with the Revit model, depending on the data range that we put. And now, if you want to do the contrary, what is currently missing on my BIM model, and document that, for example, to adjust this error, I can go outside the tolerance, and everything that's in red, it's what's not correctly modelized, but that exists in the real life. And you can go even further. For example, here, we have the beam here that is not modelized. So you can easily report this. So we are compatible with BCF annotations, okay? So I'm going to place right in front of it. I'm going beam missing in this case. You can give a description to better explain the issue. You can select a responsible, so they are going to receive an email. This is everything here. It's really optional. And then you can categorize it. For example, this is an issue. It needs to be done before next week. It's priority very high to do. I can enter tags. So later on, I can really filter based on these tags. I can add files. If you need to add PDF files, Word, or anything to document it. This can be more used maybe on the facility layout, need to command a machine on an object. You can use that. And as well, it takes a screen capture. So if you have measurements on it, they'll be kept. And then you can just add it. And then you can have as well the chat. So you can chat through this BCF annotation. And in this case, we went a bit further because we developed as well an interface for BCF management. For example, the one that we just created, it's still to do. Who is the responsible? I can update it. For example, okay, this one is done. I can save it. I can directly jump at the exact location without opening the project, download the files, or export the PDF. If I want to have a full updated document of the process of my project, you can easily do that, or export the BCF and go and directly import them on other CAD softwares. And you can do likewise from your CAD softwares, you can upload the BCFs on ATIS Cloud. And as well, we have the summary tab. For example, for this project, I have the ongoing issues, the improvements, the tasks, the labels that I'm using, how the project is evolving within the year, and as well who is working and who has the most annotation assigned, or who has completed the most annotations.
That's awesome.
So very easy and quick to use. And now we can ask the question, how they modelized this Revit model. So I'm going to show two ways how our clients were used to do that. So one of the case would be that, okay, I have a very big point cloud. I don't need the trees and other buildings. I just need what I need to modelize. So one of the ways would be, and this is still available for everyone, you can easily extract parts of your point clouds in less than a minute and have them locally and use the software that you're used to use. So in my case, I'm just going to extract the facet of the front, for example. So you can easily extract to LIS. You can as well extract it to E57, Breakup, or LIS. So if just to show you the result, let me just stop the export and open it locally. So in simple clicks, you can have the data locally, okay? And then you can continue after on to have the whole building. So this was the typical use case. Easily extract the data. This is still available. But now we have another tool that will help you achieve the modelization phase very faster. So we have the Revit framing just underneath. Currently, we are compatible with Revit and Alplan. So I'm going to show you the Revit. You select the point cloud, generate the code. So the code has been generated. I copy it. I have Revit on my local. Do you confirm you're still seeing Revit?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. So I have the Revit model, the same building as I have on ATIS Cloud. It's really the same. Let me just show the other one. It's here, okay? And I'm able to stream the point cloud directly on Revit without having the data locally or asking my colleagues or my client to deliver me a recap, decimated and chunked correctly so I can open it on my Revit.
Wow.
So I just need to pass through the code, select which dimension, which attribute of the point cloud I need to have. So in my case, I'm going to use color. You can use intensity or classification, depending what kind of attributes your point cloud have. And as well, we are able to decimate in real life. So you can select the spacing. I don't need too much points for what I'm willing to do. And depending if you're working with reference data, you can set the position. So in my case, I'm going to use, since I said earlier for the project, we use the same reference. I'm going to tell Revit, okay, use the shared site position. And here I'm going to add. So now that the point cloud is going to come is really coming from the cloud. I have nothing locally, and you can stream any of your projects. So here the point cloud is coming, and it's correctly fitting with the model that the client did modelize. And if I show you on Revit, it's right there. We have the same result here, and we did not stop here because for those that do the modeling, they need sometimes to go back to point cloud to view images, and you can lose a lot of time, and sometimes it can get complicated. You don't have the images. So we as well have the possibility to integrate the 360 view on Revit. So they will be shown as with the icon of a scan. So they are loading now. We can see the percentage loading here. And I don't know if you guys can view it. You have the icon of the scan here. And let's just minimize the project. And we're going to enter in one of that one. So you can focus what's going on behind the viewer of ATIS Cloud, not on Revit. So we are currently entering in this one. So I click on Revit, and the view is directly linked with ATIS Cloud. So if we go back to ATIS, directly linked with that view where we have the image, the point cloud, and Revit. So you can do any kind of measurement, verify what you need to do. And let me change another one. For example, let's place ourselves here. So it's going to link directly the view on ATIS Cloud. And once the point cloud is here on Revit, technically you can use all of the functionalities of Revit. So in this case, what I'm going to do, let me enter in this layout plane. Okay. And for example, here we entered the floor, and on the floor I can see the stations where they were taken. And I can directly synchronize my view floor by floor. And here we're already inside. So this is the way how we are revolutionizing the way that professionals work with point cloud. That's our main challenge, to be as close as possible to the client, hear their demands, and do our best what technology can offer and try to provide a solution.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is that's a great feature. There's a lot of problems with data sharing and data sizes and sending point clouds to people during modeling and sharing that data. A couple questions that pop in my mind looking at that process. One, I guess initially I think cloud hosted point cloud viewing in Revit, what kind of data size or decimation do you think you need to do? Do you see issues with that streaming? Does it load in and stay pretty dense? What's some of the thought around the data size and maybe any issues with streaming that point cloud in like that?
So we did some comparison with like importing the real RCP. So first you need to have a lot of space and a powerful computer, and in terms of speed, we are the same. And then it depends on the project, honestly. It depends what you're trying to modelize. Even with the Revit file having locally, you need to use a spacing, like, I don't know, 2 millimeters or 2 centimeters, something like that. So that's why we give this kind of tool. If you have a good internet connection, you can set the spacing at maximum. Of course, it's going to take several minutes or seconds to load the data. And then what's cool with the streaming is that at first we won't be loading the whole point cloud. We'll be just loading the global view. And then when you work like I showed earlier by floor, we'll be loading points regarding only this layout. So you have full resolution of the place that you're working.
Does the density of the points change as you zoom into different areas and load, kind of like it does in Recap or Navisworks? And once it's loaded, does it stay dense, or does that change as you zoom in and out to different areas of the data?
So at first, if for the first time you're zooming on an area, the points are going to come from the cloud, okay? And once you zoom out, they're going to go on the memory of the computer, sometimes on the active memory, or sometimes stored locally. So the next time you're going to zoom the same place, you no longer be getting the same data from the cloud, but you have it locally. So we'll just display what you already loaded. So this helps the process, and you won't be downloading 1 terabyte of point cloud, because this project has around the 60 gigabyte. So maybe with the point clouds, we're only streaming some megabytes, at best 200 megabyte maybe.
Okay. When you showed some of the tools in the cloud portion of, creating sections, you were looking at just the front of the building. Can you, when you linked that point cloud in Revit, can you choose individual portions, or does it bring the whole global point cloud into Revit?
Yeah. For the moment, with this actual version, you need to select here which point cloud you're trying to stream, okay? So for the moment, you have to select it. If I had couple sources here, different parts of the project, I need to select them one by one. So for the moment, you need to select which one you want, not a clipping box. Able with the list manager to tell for Albion, for example, I think that was more your question. You can use an area of what you want to stream, for example. Whereas Revit, you select the point cloud as a whole and stream it.
Okay. But if you had a large project and you're interested in sectioning your data out, you could do that before uploading it to ATIS Cloud, and then you would have multiple files there as far as point clouds to select from to stream to Revit.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the idea.
That's great. I think that's a very, very powerful tool. I know firsthand the struggles of data sharing and people accessing files, and I can't recall seeing something quite like this in another platform. I think that seems like the most unique tool that I've seen so far.
Yeah, because clients, they receive the recap, but they're not able to open it, or they receive to another format. So it's really difficult to get working, where you have the point cloud of 200 gigabytes, but you don't know what to do. So with this, you'll be able to view very easily. And then if you want to start producing something, you can stream it to Revit, or you can extract the part that you want and put it on the software that you're working. And that's why we're staying on point cloud, and because that's what the scanners are producing, and that's what the other software are using. They're using the point cloud. Generating a mesh just for the visualization, it demands a lot of resources, and you cannot go further. Whereas here with the point cloud, it's a rich data, and you can keep using it all the time. That's why we are comparing BIM models with point clouds, because that's the original data on the field.
That's great.
And
yeah, go ahead.
And another project, for example, here for facility layout, or, well, this is not actually facility layout, but what I wanted to show is that you can have real panoramic simulation. So this is a project scanned with Attis 360. So again, another scanner type, fully compatible with ATIS Cloud. And the goal of this project was to replace the pipes that we are seeing here. So what they did, they scanned the environment, is referenced, and as well they imported the 3D models that they need for this work. So here in this project we have these 3D models, okay, and others as well. This one here and here. So the first issue that they found out is that the vehicle that you're viewing here is not able to cross the gate. Okay, so they use the measurement B7 annotation to document this and find another vehicle that can go through the gate. And as well, let me just place this one correctly. I need to place it here. And as well, having the point cloud, the image, and the 3D model, you can have a real panoramic view. So that's what I'm currently doing. I'm using the 4K image of Leica, and I'm able to do any kind of simulation with my 3D models, and as well do any kind of measurement as well. And it goes the same. You can change the view to point cloud. But if you have a real image and 3D models, it helps you a lot to simulate your work in real life, thanks to the image.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, but you can do 3D simulation like I'm doing with 3D models. For facility layout, what is important is that you don't necessarily have the time or the resources to create a model of the machine. So what we provide at ATIS Cloud, you can do 3D simulation with point cloud as well. So what I did in this project, I exported the pipes as point cloud, and I imported them on my library of the project as a point cloud as well. And this will allow me, Matthew, to do a 3D simulation with point cloud. So the one that I'm moving here is not a BIM model, but it's really a point cloud. So you can create a rich environment for machines that you need to relocate on other facilities very easily, very quickly, and save a version and present your production line and lots of other stuff.
That's great. And when you bring that point cloud in, did you do that outside of the platform and then you brought it in as a separate file, or do you clip it in here and save it out as an additional file? What does that process look like?
So the process of this one for the moment is that I exported it with the same tool as I did for the other building. Okay. I imported it as a library. I gave it a name, so I'm able to add it on my project and place where it needs to be placed and save a version or document it.
That's great. Yeah, very nice. And are there any actual like animation or simulation tools, or is most of this you place it and you're kind of pulling your own measurements, maybe taking screenshots or annotations again?
So you can create this kind of animation. So first you can create a version of the project to show your work with the actual measurement, but as well you can create very easy animation. So here, for example, I want to extract this view. In simple clicks, I can export the current view, one click, and let me show you the image. I have the image over there. Or as well, you want to create an animation to present your work. We have the animation tool, for example, here. You can set the path where you want to go, for example. Let me just do one real quick on my next project to finish with. I already have an animation prepared. So you can set the time on my right side here, 10 seconds, for example, but we'll go just real quick so we can answer questions afterwards. I click play and I can create this kind of animation, walkthrough animation on my project.
Great.
And in terms of sharing, it's very easy. Either you invite the person by email address on the project, you give the necessary rights so he can view the project, or you can use the public sharing. You just send the link and whoever has the link can view the same result as you, whether they're using Mac, smartphone, or other device. For as long as they have an internet connection and a browser, they'll be able to explore the data without having any issues.
That's great. And you can, just a simple question, but on that animation, you can export that back out as a video file as well?
That's what we're working now. For the moment, okay. Clients, they have other tools that are used to create the videos. They can record their screen, but in the coming month, there will be a tool that will directly generate a video.
Okay, great. Yeah, you guys have a lot of tools, so I'm sure there's many under development.
Many of them already in production, yeah.
So would you like to do a couple questions now?
Yeah, we can do a couple of questions now, and then I have two great news to share with you. Yeah, we can do some couple of questions now.
Okay, yeah. So one question, I know you mentioned unlimited data and unlimited scans. Can you give some idea of how large of an area maybe you've tested in hosting? We have one that asked, they have a city scale scan, approximately 150 kilometers of neighborhood roads that have been captured, and asking if this would, be good for that size of data for viewing.
Yeah. So on my current account, I cannot show you like a 2 terabyte project, but the one that we tested, we have the part of the Museum of Paris, Louvre, is 2 terabyte of point cloud, but I don't have on my account. So
Yep.
we don't have any issues with the size of the point clouds. We actually say the bigger the point cloud, the better for the viewer. And in terms of big scale cities, well, this one I don't know how many kilometers we have, but this is an example that I'm able to show you today. Yeah, you can have big scale cities without any issues. And as well, depending on the mobile solution you're using, you can have the 360 images for your city. So this is the project that I can show you. And you can see I'm streaming my screen. We're full online and there is no lag. And I can do, and I can analyze or do inspection on the road, for example, if there's a need. And for those that have this kind of projects, if their data is classified, they can use the classification. So in my case, this project is classified. So let me display the classification. And what is interesting with classification is that you can tell the viewer what you're willing to view. For example, if you have the power lines or I don't know, other objects that you're searching, in my case, I'm just displaying the ground, low vegetation, medium vegetation, high vegetation, and so you'll be able to really concentrate on the part that you're working.
That's great. Awesome. Another question, is there any roadmap for potentially streaming to SketchUp?
So now, since we have finalized the Revit streaming and Albion streaming, we are currently working on 2 other software, and we'll decide which one we're going to prioritize before the other. SketchUp is not yet in our list, but next year maybe we'll be able to have on SketchUp as well something that people can use in production.
Great.
But as I mentioned at the beginning, you can think of ATIS Cloud like a toolbox where we can develop your own tool, and either you'll be using only for you on your own ecosystem of ATIS Cloud, or either the whole community is going to benefit from it because we have the capability to develop this kind of tools.
That's great. And, it's great to have companies that put forth that feedback of, hey, community, give us ideas of what tools you need, and then we'll, our goal is to solve problems. So we appreciate that.
Yeah. That's why we were at Geo Week. We were last year at RCN because we were really in touch with people on the field, what they really want and what we can afford them, and not create something that is nothing to do with the field.
That's great. Okay, we got a few more questions we might as well hit while we're on some of these technical.
Okay.
And then we'll jump over to your other viewing. Will it do any automatic object detection or extraction from point cloud data?
That's, I don't like, because I said too many times we are working on that, we're working on this.
Okay.
But I cannot directly show you right now, but we are working on automatic detection object. I have this project here that is, we have the same with the first result. So this domain with AI and everything that is evolving the technology, we're already following it really closely, and we're doing some of our algorithms. The first result that we have is that it really depends what we're looking for. If we're in facility looking for pipes, I think this algorithm is going to be very powerful, and we can provide in the near future something very powerful, like we did with Revit,
Yep.
So we are creating our own POC, like we can see here and in these 2 projects. And I think in the near future, I won't say anymore the exact date, but in the near future, we'll be able to have something very, very powerful using point clouds and images.
That's great. Yeah, and again, never have to feel bad about saying you're working on it, because I think you've got a lot of great features already, and the fact you guys are working on more is awesome. So,
And we're lucky to have Mr. Fauconnet, who is from the field, and lots of ideas we get from him because he was on the field and he knows what the market needs and what the people need to work in the daily basis.
Yeah, no, it's great starting from the point of understanding the data and understanding the struggles to then create a platform based on your integrating that knowledge. So that's awesome. So another one, do you happen to have any data sets of any meshes that have been imported to show? And even if you don't, do you accept multiple file types of meshes?
So the one that we currently accept is OBJ. Textured OBJ. So I think, if I'm not wrong, I should have one here. So I can show you this one without problem. We are limited on the size because what we do with the point cloud, we are able to stream point clouds of up to 2 terabytes. We're not yet ready to do that for meshes.
Okay.
But we can do on a lower size. For example, this one is around 300 megabyte. And if I show you, I have the point cloud here. So the mesh is coming. And if I show you, I have the point cloud and I have the mesh. So we'll be able to compare both of them, the result of the two. So let's close some of my projects real quick here, and we're all good. So here, first, this is the point cloud, okay? And then we have the mesh of that point cloud for those that prefer to share the mesh, for example. And you can have the both of them on the same viewer.
Great. Another question that came in, I can even answer. I heard the answer. Someone was asking about where the data is stored. And I think that's a great thing for you to point out because some platforms are hosted in certain countries and certain, clients or project types need data hosted in their country. So he did point out that it can be hosted on a server in your country. So that's a great benefit.
So we are present in more than 100 countries. And for example, in Europe, it can be in different countries: Spain, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, and the same for US or Canada or other countries. You have different locations that you can pick where you want the data to be stored.
That's great. Another question, when you showed the models that were from Revit inside of ATIS Cloud, they were grayscale. Do they support any type of textures or colors if somebody had that integrated into their model, or do they just come in as a grayscale?
So it depends how the model was created. For example, STL, STEP, or 3ds, the colors is going to be kept. Sometimes FBX, it depends if the texture is directly attached in the FBX or if there is external file. So it depends how the file was creating. In our case, they were using this kind of models.
Okay.
But for example, for IFC, we have all the colors like you would have on Revit, and for most of them, they're already integrated. It really depends which tool you use and how you exported it.
Okay, perfect. Another user noticed the virtual reality icon. How do they access VR with the platform?
So it's really quick. It will be hard to show on live how you connect that. But there is you click on the button like I'll be doing here, and if your VR is connected with your computer where you're using, for example, here, I click and I have the message VR not supported because it's not connected.
Yep.
So if I mentioned earlier the reasons why we do not convert to mesh resources, not using other software, and just to visualize it. So here I'm showing you Navis Veil X3, the newest one, the data, okay? So you can enter the 360 view. We can see the pipes perfectly. We can do any kind of measurement. You can compare the image with the point cloud. So what we are currently working and what we'll be releasing this month, the semi-mesh, what we call. So here, Matthew, technically you're not seeing a mesh. We are working on the point cloud, and we still have a point cloud behind it. We're not generating any mesh, but we're doing on the client side. So if we compare it, for example, the pipe, this is the mode normal that we are used to have on ATIS Cloud, okay, which is great. You can see the pipe. But if you activate the mesh, semi-mesh, what we call semi-mesh of the point cloud, we can see the quality of the pipe that we can get. So rather than converting data and losing lots of information by creating the mesh, we are still sticking to the point cloud, and we'll be able to provide to our clients with a very beautiful point cloud with the result as a mesh, but staying still with the point cloud.
That's great.
This is our newest feature that is going to be added on our toolbox and can be used in any kind of project. Okay. And the second announcement that I have to make here today, let me just quickly change the project. This is the project VLX. It was an E57. You can easily extract images as well of your E57 because sometimes it's complicated, but on ATIS Cloud you can easily extract them.
So the 360 images from the VLX do come into ATIS Cloud as well.
Yeah, whether it's Nevis, GeoSlam, Diametris, Leica Pegasus, or terrestrial scans, they're all compatible, and you can easily extract them afterwards.
Oh, that's great.
So for those that do not know this place, it's normal, but maybe some of them, they already heard it or viewed it on the Reality Capture network. So let me just load something real quick. Maybe Matthew already knows what I'm showing. So this is at Boise, okay, and this is the State University. And this, at the end of this year, the RCN 2023 will take place here. And I'm happy to announce that for this year, ATIS Cloud is going to participate again as an exhibitor.
That's great. Yeah, we're excited to have you back.
And you guys, you will be here. We invite you to be here as well. And that's where we can analyze your needs and adjust our pipeline.
That's awesome.
So this was captured by Matthew, modelized on Revit. So we just did a quick comparison where we can see. And let me just hide the 3D model. And then I created the animation real quick. It took me, I think, less than 10 minutes to set up this and just to show you and announce the news.
That's great. Yeah,
that's what you can do with ATIS Cloud. And of course, there are lots of other tools that I did not have time to show you today.
Yeah.
But you guys can give it a try, and we're here to help you.
That's great. We appreciate you showing, and we could tell even just looking at the interface and the menus, and I feel like you maybe you showed a lot of tools, a lot of capabilities, but it seems like you guys have quite a bit in there. And even the tools, I think the couple that you pointed out that I really personally like and think are great and maybe unique even is the way that you deal with some of the tagging and exporting those to PDFs that people can utilize the point cloud directly. The size of data, the viewing, the links to Revit, I think it seems kind of game changer because a lot of people struggle with where to host their point cloud. And when people are working locally in Revit, they pass it around and there's issues there. So I'm very interested and looking forward to trying that out, even for our own modeling capabilities. So those look like great tools. And for anybody that is watching that has additional questions, is interested in trying it out on their projects, I'm sure that the team here is interested in helping you support a demo for yourselves. So we'll definitely be supplying all the contact information to get in touch. And for those that missed this chance to ask questions or be involved on the live webinar, we know there's a lot of people who watch afterward in the recording. This will be available for repeat if you want to send it out to any of your friends or colleagues to watch some of these capabilities on the Education Center. We do have one more question, which Albion and I just came in and I think would be kind of good to answer as well. Even if you can't go deep into detail, how does the pricing structure of your guys' platform and interactions work?
I'm sometimes losing you. So the question was, how does the pricing structure work, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's very easily, it's a price per user per month. It's already official on our site. So basically it's $20 per user per month. So just since the question was cut, I'm using internet connection, and on my side there is no lagging at all. It's really fluid and fast on the viewer. So if you guys on your own end you find it's lagging, it's maybe because due to internet connection.
Yeah. No worries. Sometimes that happens. You know, we're working in Boise and France all at the same time. So,
and my PC is not a powerful one. It's a desktop that we can find at any office. So there is nothing special about it. But regardless of that, if you have an internet connection, you can work. Or maybe sharing my screen did not work
No, everything looked good, streamed good. I think we got most questions answered. So, man, that sounds like a great pricing model. I look forward to, again, looking into it myself as well and trying out some of your new tools. And of course, we're excited to have you guys back to the conference. So those that are coming out will get to meet with you in person, and we'll do some live demos. So
definitely, we're looking forward to that.
All right. Well, appreciate your time today. We're going to go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you guys for joining us live. And
thank you, Matt, for having us. And thank you for the community to follow. And if you have any questions, please feel free. We're here to help you. Thank you very much, Matt, and the whole Reality Capture Network.
That sounds great. All right. Thanks, you guys. We'll be in touch.